I've had each of these mowers for quite a few years, and as you can imagine, over time, these black handlebar assemblies, they tend to develop surface rust, and it's worse in some areas than others, and that just comes from being out in the elements with the moisture in the air. Could come from the salt of your hands as you're holding the handle. But the other day I took some time to refinish these. I went ahead and removed the rust, and I added a protective coating that's durable and chemical resistant. And I'll show you what that is, what I used to get there. Here you can see my tape line from where I began the prep work. And this gives you an idea of the finish of the product I used to coat the handle. It doesn't go on very thick, but it is a durable finish. Just enough texture to provide some comfort while mowing. And overall, just a very good result. There's really only 3 steps to refinish the handles. First, you're going to do some prep work. You're going to follow with some cleaning. And then finally, you're going to do your finishing. So as far as prep goes, removing the surface rust and the more serious rust, I ended up using these wire brushes. These work great in any high-speed drill, or if you have a rotary tool that'll accept something like this. It does a great job of beating down some of the heavier rusted areas. I also used a sandpaper. This is 80 grit. That worked well for my application, and did a lot of detail work with just a standard wire bristle brush, steel bristle brush. Once I removed most of the rust, or as much rust as I could, I followed up with a solvent, something like mineral spirits, and a rag, just to make sure I was removing any dust, contaminants, may try to clean dry surface prior to applying paint. So once I had my surface nice and clean, dry, I first applied a primer. I used a Rust-Oleum. This is just something I had in the shop as a paint and primer. What you use, you want to make sure it is a primer, first of all, and you want to make sure it's good for use on bare metal, because after all, you're going to be removing any of the black paint that's on the handle, as well as any rust, and exposing that bare metal. So this particular product is safe on metal. Put a couple coats of primer, and then I followed up with some truck bed coating, and this was the magic product here. This really gives a great finish to the handlebars. Not only is it a non-skid surface, it's not real gritty, but it's also chemical resistant, abrasion resistant, it says here. So just a durable finish that I anticipate lasting a very long time. This particular one also states that it stops rust, so should there be any rust underneath the finish that you were unable to remove, this would help in preventing that from coming through.